What is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or service. It is specific, timely, usually multidisciplinary, and typically conflict-ridden. Project management then is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirement. Project management differs greatly from general management. Every project is planned, budgeted, scheduled, and also controlled as a unique task. Unlike non-projects, projects are often multidisciplinary. Projects usually have considerable needs to cross departmental boundaries for technology, information, resources, and personnel. Crossing these boundaries tends to lead to intergroup conflict. Unlike their general management counterparts, project managers have responsibility for accomplishing a project, but little or no legitimate authority to command the required resources. The project manager must be skilled at win-win negotiation to obtain these resources. Projects have four interrelated objectives to meet the budget, finish on schedule, generate deliverables that satisfy the client, and to maximize risks. Because we live in an uncertain world, unexpected events will threaten the project schedule, budget, or scope. Budgeting the projects. A budget is simply a plan for allocating organizational resources to the project activities. Budgeting is simply the process of forecasting what resources the project will require, what quantities of each will be needed, when they will be needed, and how much will they cost. A budget must be developed in order to obtain the resources needed to accomplish the project's objectives. The budget also serves another purpose. It ties the project to the organization's aims and objectives through organizational policy. There are two types of budgeting. The first is the top-down budgeting, which is a budgeting method in which senior management develops a high-level budget for the company. The process is quicker, it saves time and resources for lower-level management. The second method is the bottom-up budgeting. It is a form of financial budgeting where a company allows each department to set their own budget. Bottom-up budgets are usually more accurate in the detailed task, but risk the chance of overlooking some small but costly tasks. Combining both forms of developing budgets is highly recommended. They both have advantages. It requires more time and trouble, but any budgeting system will be useful only to the extent that all cost revenue estimates are made with honesty. Allocating resources to a project is a concern. Mainly, resource allocation concerns how we allocate specific, limited resources to specific activities or projects when there are competing demands for the same limited resources. When allocating resources to the project, the primary cause of concern is resource scarcity. If some resources, including time, were not scarce, the resource allocation problem would be concerned solely with profit maximization, a relatively easy problem. Resource loading is usually displayed as a list of the amounts of specific resources assigned for use on specific project activities at specific time, or the level of resources capacity required against the project calendar. Most project management software will level out the loads for individual resources and warn the project manager when a resource is scheduled for greater than capacity workloads. When a resource is assigned to an activity, it is assigned for 100% of its availability unless the project manager specifies otherwise. There are many possible rules for assigning preference to some activities over others when allocating scarce resources. The minimum slack rule usually works best. Only a few critical resources are actually scarce in the sense that project schedules must be adjusted to resource availability. Every project must be evaluated. A project evaluation appraises the progress and performance relative to the project's initial or revised plan. The evaluation also appraises the project against the goals and objectives set for it during the selection process. There are many different measures that may be applied in a project evaluation. Senior management may have particular areas they want evaluated for future planning and decisions. This includes the original criteria for selecting and funding the project was considered in the first place. Evaluation criteria should include the needs of management, the organization's stated and unstated goals, the efficiency, customer impact and satisfaction, business success, and future potential. Measuring the project's success on budget, schedule, and scope is easier than measuring revenues or subjective factors. A project audit is a formal review of a project, often intended to assess the extent to which project management standards are being upheld. An audit could be held at three common levels: general audit, detailed audit, and finally the technical audit. The criteria commonly applied for deciding whether to terminate a project fall into two general categories. One, the degree to which the project has met its goals and objectives, and two, the degree to which the project qualifies against a set of factors generally associated with success failure.